Welcome, everybody, to the latest edition of Pinfalls. I am Johngy of JohnGSBeat.com, and joining me, as always, contributor extraordinaire, Tommy Else. How are you, Tommy?
I'm good, John. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Today on Pinfalls, we're going to be looking at WWE Day 1, which will air on Saturday. Coincidentally, the first of the year, Day 1.
I'm excited about I like the idea of having a pay-per-view on New Year's Day's night, because the night before you can party, you can do whatever you do, and then sleep all day New Year's Day, and then get up and then settle in on a pay-per-view. I like that. That's a nice.
Well,
it's a Saturday,
and
then you can sleep in on the Sunday too. So I mean, I like this idea. So
I like the Saturday pay-per-views a lot because I'm old and I don't want to stay up that late on a Sunday night.
Yeah, no, I'm same way, and the thing is I usually have people over at my place to watch the show, so at least I'm just going to bed when everyone leaves. But I mean, people all have to drive home still, so for them it's a longer night even still. So, but yeah,
Indeed.
I'm psyched about it, and looking forward to Saturday night.
All right, well, let's hop right to it then. We got 7 matches. I'm sorry.
I said I'm hoping you might make it.
I hope so too. It's barring the snowstorm. We're expecting like 8 inches of snow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So,
well, I'm not going anywhere, so I don't have to worry about it.
You've got an easy commute. So we got 7 matches. We're going to save the women's match for the end, as always. So let's start off with the Raw Tag Team match. We got Team RK Bro versus the Street Profits, Dawkins and Ford.
Yeah.
Prediction?
Man, tough. Right now RK Bro is still going pretty well. Their last match they had, they were both had singles matches against the Alpha Academy, and they both won their matches respectively against Gable and Otis. So they were looking very strong going into this. I kind of figured that we would be seeing the Street Profits be the ones to make it to the end of the tournament. It's such a toss up, because I on one hand think that a sudden crash for RKO or RK Bro could be set them in the beginning of the year, heading into Mania and everything, start setting up a feud between Riddle and Orton. If they were to lose, the Street Profits need something to do, because if they lose this, where do you go from here? So, and what's the next tag team, and what happens to the Street Profits? So I'm going to have to say I say it with a bit of reluctancy. I say this is like a 51-49 here, but I'm going to go with the Street Profits.
I'm going with the Street Profits as well. I said this before. It's past time for Team RK Bro to break up. I don't like Randy Orton as a face. We said it before in the past. Where do Street Profits go from here if they lose? Then you got the whole build up for nothing. There's no payoff. Right. Unless they bring it to one more pay-per-view and run it to maybe Royal Rumble. But
the thing is they held the RK Bro tournament or whatever, the Bronament, so it's like that. If it wasn't for that, if this was just like another tag team match for the titles or whatever, I'd probably say RK Bro. But I think because they had their own tournament, these guys fought their way up through the tournament. These guys have to get the win. It's like it's almost not face to win your own tournament. You know what I mean? So
I agree.
I'm not like, I understand like the face Orton is almost uncomfortable. It doesn't seem natural. And on a personal note, I am not a fan of the mustache. I wish.
Oh God, it's horrible.
I mean, like the mustache and goatee thing, he's okay with. That's fine. I can live with that. I like a clean shaven Randy Orton, or if he does just kind of like the scruff thing going, that's fine too.
I'm okay.
But the porn stash that he's got going on right now, I do have a problem with that, and I hate that he's using it during what I consider to be one of the more entertaining times I've had with Orton in recent history. I mean, I love I love Riddle more than anything, really, but I do think it's been fun to see Orton as part of this whole thing. I know you're not. I'm not big on him being a face either. You don't buy it. You know, it's like a temporary thing, but the fans are just eating it up, and the merchandise is selling. So the company's going to keep rolling with it.
Well, it was interesting to see a different side of Orton. I'll give him that, but I think I've seen enough of that side of Orton, and I want to move on.
He did a good job of never completely giving up like the edge of himself and having an attitude and not really being nice. I mean, he's generally been a jerk to him for the most part, but a few moments.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when your partner's a jerk.
Yeah. Tell me about it. And, but I do think that it's if you really want it to culminate and cash in on it, I think you got to do it in the next quarter of the year, and this is the perfect time to set those wheels in motion. So so I'm with you, Street Profits, and then hopefully they themselves are also going to get a push and get to do some fun things. So
all right, well, we agree on the first. Let's go for the second. We got Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss.
Drew McIntyre all day.
Clearly.
I don't care if he has Happy Gilmore or whatever the hell he's calling himself now, Happy Corbin. I don't care. Drew McIntyre is due for a win, and if he doesn't beat this guy, he's in a slump for sure. So I don't care. Even if there's interference, I still expect him to win. I mean, like, they're just. So I'm going with Drew McIntyre. I'm not really enthralled by the whole thing in the first place. Like, ever since they've done the Happy Corbin thing, I just think back to the badass who was on NXT, who had long hair, and he had the awesome intro and stuff. And even then, I mean, like, he was a really good heel. He looks like a heel. I mean, and he is a heel now, but I mean, if you told me that was where this was going to go someday, to Happy Corbin, and he's dancing out to the ring. I hated when he was in his suit or his dress clothes he would wear and wrestled in those. I hate when wrestlers wrestle in dress clothes. Very, very few instances is it appropriate or make psychological sense for it. It takes you out of it. It just looked like a wrestler, even if your gimmick is, a business like type thing or whatever, it's like, it just at least look like a wrestler when you go to the ring,
I agree. I mean, I don't know why WWE continues to take good characters from NXT and then change the stuff for the worse as they come up to the main roster. It makes no sense to me.
Well, I feel like you spend all that time in NXT establishing this character.
Exactly.
Why would you not maintain it as you then are promoted up to the next level?
Right. Now, what's the point?
This isn't everybody. I mean, Becky Lynch is still more or less Becky Lynch, although she's had a few different monikers and things.
Hey, let it go. Becky's fine.
I'm not ripping on Becky. I'm just saying she's just one of the exceptions who didn't get too much. They didn't mess around with her too much, All
right, I'm just saying.
Alexa Bliss went through a few different iterations, but I thought they were all natural and worked for her and stuff. And nothing too bad there. But there's been some guys that they come over and then they just rob them of all the magic that made them cool in NXT. So, I don't know. And so this. What's his name? Madcap Moss.
Which is again, that's like just,
I will say I saw them. They're entertaining together. And everything. I see potential in it, just like because of they did on Christmas Eve, they had a match against McIntyre and Kingston and King Xavier. And it of course ended with like eggnog being dumped over their heads and and cookies thrown at them and things like that. Madcap Moss sold it really well. It's funny. Like, do you remember, like, what was his name? Johnny Stamboli or whatever it was. he had kind of like a derby hat and like
Yeah.
a t-shirt and suspenders or whatever and stuff. Like there's been a few guys like that. They got another guy from Chicago on there now, and I think he's on NXT, and he's kind of got, there's some guys who fall into a certain type of mold, and I kind of like it. I like what Madcap Moss has got going on, but I mean at this point of him being introduced to things and being a sidekick to Happy Corbin, there's no, I would be very disappointed if Drew McIntyre didn't just decimate this guy. So
Yeah, if Drew loses to him, then where does he even go?
it should
from
be
there?
a good
But
comedy match, but yeah, exactly. It's like, but otherwise, unless they're going to start doing a storyline where Drew McIntyre is just like just really hitting the
down and out.
slugs, yeah,
Yeah.
then I don't see any reason he should lose that match.
But they just kind of built him up, to see him. If they're going that way, like that would make no sense to me. But it is WWE. But
yeah,
well, since you brought up the New Day, they're our next match. We got the New Day challenging for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, challenging the Usos.
Well, part of this plays into my prediction for the Roman Reigns Lesnar match, but I feel like the table is going to break on day one, and I think across the board, and I think that the tag titles are going to go over to Kofi and King Woods. I don't think they necessarily need them. I think King Woods has got a good thing going on just doing that, and Kofi seems more than happy to be, his side buddy and helping him out. But I think the Usos are just going to finally, I feel like it's necessary for the Usos to lose the titles that night. I kind of almost wish they were going to go on to somebody else, because like I said, I don't really think these guys need to have the titles for like
No.
20th time. But
is there some record that the WWE is trying to break? I don't think so, right?
I think they have already. I think they've already done it. I think they. Yeah. I think they already have. If I'm almost certain they've already been named like they've won the titles more than like any other tag team. I mean, as far as like just the WWE titles.
Yeah.
Not like guys.
And I'm with you. I think New Day is going to win. I think this is the beginning of the end. I shouldn't say the beginning of the end. The beginning of a partial end to the tribal family. I think there's going to start being tears in the bloodline and all that. So I think this is when it starts. Usos lose, and we'll see what happens afterwards. And who goes next for New Day? I don't know. We have to figure that one out. But we'll find out at Royal Rumble maybe.
There's still plenty of heel tag teams on SmackDown. Because there's Root. There's the Dirty Dogs. You got Root and Ziggler. I'm sure they probably want a chance at that stuff. So, we'll
God,
see.
I hope not. I'm not big into Roode and Ziggler, but unfortunately, I'm not a matchmaker.
I liked Roode much better when he was on his own and he did the glorious thing when it was an entrance and all that and stuff. I thought he was a better singles guy. I definitely think that Ziggler's a better singles guy.
Yes.
I don't think he needs to be buried in a faction or a tag team. I think he needs to be put on display and made a top guy, and get as much mic time as like Seth Rollins, I mean, like that's where he should be and should have been a long time ago. So,
although I did like Roode in Beer Money.
Yeah, see, I didn't know.
I know it's not the WWE, but I did like him in that tag team. But in the WWE, I like him solo.
Yeah. All right.
Unless Storm comes back. But now we have a match which I'm really looking forward to: Edge versus Miz.
Yeah. Wild ending to Raw this last Monday. They were doing the renewal of the vows between Miz and Maurice, and with good old Eric Bischoff at the helm to commence the ceremony, and Edge made his presence felt with the old Brood bloodbath and ruined the wedding. I don't know why anybody tries to get married on a wrestling show anymore. I mean, I've seen I think maybe two successful marriages that went off without a hitch for the most part.
I was
Like
trying to think.
without like anyone, I mean, there's always some comedy to it, but but without like the thing, the set getting ripped apart and stuff, and somebody getting beat up or somebody running off with the bride or whatever. They did one on NXT actually like a few months ago, and I watched it. And one of the things that I was just shocked by was the fact that they actually got through the ceremony, got married, and everybody was happy for them. They had a lot of like little jokes and shenanigans and stuff that happened along the way, but they actually made it through. I mean, that's a rarity.
Yeah.
So why would you renew your vows or anything? Because they Triple H and Stephanie went to renew their vows at one point. That was a great one too.
Yeah.
That was a great one. And because she had told him that she was pregnant, and he found out earlier in the day of the renewal that she was lying to him, and so he ends up divorcing her instead of renewing his vows.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. No, did Liz and Randy, did they get married on, or was it just did they have a reunion? And
I was trying to think of that, and I don't know. And I think that if they did, they were one of the two that probably got through it successfully. I don't think anyone.
I don't think there was a thing though. I think it was just that they had the reunion at the the big you hoist her on the shoulder, and I don't know if they actually had the ceremony thing.
I don't know. We'll have to look into that. But
get our historian on that. Do we have one?
I guess it's me. But I'll look into it. I'll Google it in a minute. All right. So Edge versus The Miz is what we're talking about here, though. So, yes. The thing I run into it with Edge is, when Edge is facing somebody who needs the win, and, Edge just came off of, his win over Seth Rollins at the Hell in the Cell they did at Crown Jewel was phenomenal. Just an absolute, just incredible match. And he's just been kind of floating around since and everything, and now he's got this thing with the Miz and everything. And the question is he going to start all over again in a feud with someone like the Miz and have to go through all that just to get back up to that big match again, or can he just put Miz out of the way and make this a short storyline and go on? I don't see that happening, and the only way for it to continue is if the Miz somehow wins.
Oh, I disagree.
Okay.
I think if Edge wins, then Miz has to come back. He's got to come back and get the win back.
It depends, because they're really playing Maurice a lot in this whole thing. And so if she becomes a factor in the match, it depends on what side she's a factor, because she could do a couple things. She could be used by the Miz as interference, and he uses her to get the win, but it aggravates her once again. Aggravates is putting it lightly. On the other hand, maybe she's pissed enough about the stuff from the last few weeks that she may even cost Miz the match, so that's a possibility.
Could this possibly set up a Miz, Maurice, Edge, Beth Phoenix match?
Well, if he can he'd have to lose Maurice and get her back on his side, and then that would be great. I think everybody would be happy to see that match.
Well, why would he have to lose Maurice? Why couldn't Maurice help him win, and then Edge either brings Beth in or Beth comes in?
No, that's a possibility. You're right. So I don't know. It's the Maurice is the X factor in this whole thing. She's what's going to make the difference in this match. That's what I feel. So I'm still going to stick with Miz. This is another one of those like kind of 49-51. Like it's really really close. So I'm going to go with Miz. But I see what you're saying. I don't think you're off in your thinking. So,
well, I will give the edge to Adam Copeland. See what I did there? You were there.
Yeah. Well, that's better than I thought you were going to go. So
I thought you might miss that one.
see.
Okay, so on to the
good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for coming. Tip the waitress or the server. For the Universal Championship, we got Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. Where Paul Heyman stands right now in Brock's corner, where he stands at the end of the match might determine what happens.
This is
Thoughts?
true. Yeah, this is true. I still feel like they gotta be done with Reigns. They just gotta be done with Reigns. I mean, he's still going strong, but the thing is that Brock is basically it, man. He's the top of the mountain. If he gets to Brock and he beats Brock, who's gonna be big and bad enough to take out Roman Reigns at that point? I mean, like, if they were going to follow through on this big dream match of like The Rock versus Reigns or something like that, that would be one thing, but that wouldn't be for the title, you know? So it's I don't know. I'm going to keep sticking with my guy, and I'm going to go with Brock on this one.
Well, I'm going with Roman Reigns.
Man,
I don't see well, because I've already picked against the Usos. So I don't think the whole family goes down at once. I think Paul might flip-flop, and he might turn on Brock, or it might be a long-term play. I'm not sure. I see Roman coming out, and maybe the next match is Hell in the Cell at Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. But the thing with Heyman though is that his character has been so well developed and done in such a way that even right up to the match, you still never know which way he could go.
Right.
And I'm neither would surprise you, whichever, like if he, which whatever, because you could see this being a big master plan, putting on this big show where he gets fired and all this stuff and everything, and they're trying, and this whole thing is Heyman knows Lesnar better than everybody, and so maybe he thinks this is the way into Lesnar's head or something, and this has been the master plan all along. That would be great. On the other hand, he could also just not be able to help himself and go back to his, it's like going back to your old girlfriend, so yeah. Maybe
Sorry.
not the best example, but
bad flashback.
I don't know. Again, there's some close matches in this one. I gotta say, there's a lot of close matches, but I'm gonna go with Brock. I think he's the top of the mountain, and I think that because this being New Year's Day, they really are looking to like flip over a lot of things and start some new stuff. So I don't think they're trying to drag too much of last year into this one, especially considering that the roster is dropping like flies,
yeah,
getting fired every day. There's only so many people in the company anymore,
or COVID.
Right. And then COVID's another thing. So I think, they'll be making some decisions about who to start pushing for this next year based on, like who they think they're going to still have employed in the next couple of weeks, So.
Well, I see Roman winning. I'm not sure where it goes from there. If there's, like I said, a follow-up match, maybe in a cell. Maybe it does set up eventually a Rock versus Roman's match where Rock's got to, teach him a lesson or whatever. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I haven't quite thought about that, but
the thing is that they could groom a rivalry where, yes, Roman Reigns wins at day one, and then they push this thing all the way to Mania. But, we have seen Brock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I mean, I don't, what at least twice now, I think.
Yeah.
And I just don't care. Now, granted, this is a much better scenario and storyline, and the roles and the characters that they are playing as now versus what they were before is far more compelling. And it's not like they didn't do Rock and Austin 3 times either, but still, I just kind of feel like, I feel like we've done this dance before already, and even this match seems kind of like, we're doing it again, but again, I'd say it's better now than it's been in any of their other encounters.
I agree. I just can't see Reigns losing this match. Maybe because of another prediction I have upcoming, which we'll get to in a minute. But there'd be, because I already have the tag team titles changing. I know you say it'd be nice to they might be flipping all of them, which would work in your favor. You'd be right. But I don't see Roman losing this one. So I see Roman beating Brock.
He's like 450 plus days with this title too.
Yeah.
I mean, like he's had it long enough,
I agree. I would like to see Brock, and I can't believe I'm saying that. I would like to see Brock win it, but I don't think he's going to.
I think Brock's a short-term champion, but I just, again, I don't know. It's like if not Lesnar, then who? If not,
well, it might be Lesnar. It's just not going to be Lesnar on this day.
If not now, then when? That's
next Royal Rumble.
The Royal Rumble. You think that's?
Yes.
So you're
Stay
already
tuned for that.
So you're already predicting a match. You're predicting a very specific one here. You're predicting a Hell in a Cell, Lesnar versus Reigns, Lesnar going over at the Royal Rumble.
Kinda, yeah, because I think it'll keep Heyman out theoretically, although we know that it doesn't necessarily keep anybody out, but it keeps Heyman out. It's one-on-one, mano-a-mano, in the cage, the way to finally settle it.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see.
All right. Well, the next one is a tricky one. We got a four-way, theoretically. We've got for the WWE Championship, we got Big E champ versus challenger Seth Rollins if he's healthy, Kevin Owens, and Lashley.
Yeah, so Seth got COVID apparently a few days ago or something like that. So I just don't see him in this match. I mean,
no,
there's no way. I mean, even if he feels okay, he still hasn't been. You need to have had it for like a couple of weeks for it to run out of you before it's not contagious anymore. So
right,
you can't just let him go in there with their three of their top guys and
throw caution to the wind.
Yeah, So I got to imagine that he's not gonna be there unless it's a work and like he just comes running down and
well, he could be there and
says I never.
Somebody could take. Well, somebody could take him out right before the match too. They find him sprawled in the back. Who nailed the Rollins? They could do something goofy like that.
Sure.
Pre-tape it.
Well, my prediction doesn't matter. It doesn't matter regardless of whether he is there or not. I'm going with Big E. I think he's going to retain the title. I have some concerns that the Hurt Business, like your boy Shelton Benjamin and what's his name? I feel terrible. I'm always forgetting his name. It starts with a C. Anyway, the two guys, I feel like they came out on Raw this last week and were trying to like get back in the good graces of them, and they both got their asses kicked, and MVP was not impressed. I think they keep trying to come back, and with them getting rejected so many times, I could see them maybe like coming out and screwing over Lashley or something in this match. So I think that's
Cedric Alexander.
Alexander. Thank you. Yeah, I feel awful. He's an awesome wrestler. I've seen him live several times. But yeah, they're great. But I think I could see them like having had it enough with him and them wanting to like take it out on him and cost his match. And then I just think that Big E's on too big of a role and it's too early for him to lose the title. And I think that winning a fatal 4-way gives you credibility. And so he definitely has something to gain by this. And I think E makes it to Mania regardless of what comes up between now and then. So
I agree on all fronts. I believe Kevin Owens might take the fall unless, like you said, unless the Hurt Business gets involved and somehow screws up Lashley. I think Kevin Owens is the perfect
Well, they
guy
could
to take
just
the fall.
take him out of the match somehow or cost him it. But
Yeah.
I agree that I think that Kevin Owens' point is actually really good because he has been the most vocal and braggadocious about this more than anybody. So it would make sense that he would be the one then who ends up getting pinned. So that's a good call.
All right. Well, we agree on that one. So the final match, which now and again, this one might be up in the air because we got the Raw Women's Champ, my gal Becky Two Belts, versus defending against Liv Morgan. Is Becky going to be healthy enough? She lives with Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Did he spread it to her?
It's interesting. Yeah, this is a match that they could end up calling off at the last minute or replacing it with something else or who knows what. But I think we should just make our predictions assuming it's happening.
Right.
So this is another one where I feel like Liv should win the title. I think Liv should. At this point, you can't give her any bigger of a build up than she's had for this title. Okay. Becky's had it for 6 months and she's played a great heel against Liv and bullied her and made her the underdog and really pushed her down. She's only way Liv is going to get over with the crowd is if she finally gets this win. And it's not like this is the first time they're fighting each other, because that one I would say, well, yeah, she's probably going to lose her first attempt. No, she's tried and she's lost, but she keeps coming back and she's got the crowd behind her. Again, new year, turn things over, bringing in a new crop. I think Liv Morgan wins. Place will go
surprisingly, I have to pick Liv Morgan as well.
Yeah, because you're a Becky. I love Becky Lynch, but I just think it logically makes sense. And I mean, honestly, I still don't buy Liv Morgan as a champion just yet. I mean,
right. I agree.
I don't know that she's right or ready for the title right now. But from a storyline standpoint and the way that they've worked it, their chemistry's been good with each other. I think, you can give her the title, let her have it for a few months or something. And
no, I agree. I agree completely. You make a great point. I agree that I don't think Liv is ready for the title. It wouldn't be my first choice for the title, but based on the storyline, timeline, it's the perfect time to give her the title.
If you
it's not going to hurt Becky.
No, if you don't do it now, then you've wasted everybody's time. So
right. And we've gone around that many times about how it's just stories need a payoff.
Right.
And as much as I love Becky, I'll still love Becky without the title. It doesn't matter. Becky doesn't need that title right now.
No, exactly. She doesn't. She's going to be fine. She'll be just fine without her.
Now, where they go from there, I don't know.
I'm sure there's a rematch after that for sure. Becky's not going to just let that go. She's going to have to deal with that. And then, maybe it's a one-on-one, maybe someone else gets in there and now someone else wants it. And they got a 3-way going.
Well, you never know though. It could be Bianca Belair might come in and cost Becky the title. And then all of a sudden it's Bianca versus Becky.
Right. They've got their own side thing going on. Yeah. Well, any of those are possible, but I really think that the audience and both Becky and Liv would be cheated if Liv doesn't win that, because Becky's put in the work to, get Liv in this position. Liv's played along with it and done her part and, done as good of a job as, you could hope for. So, I mean, I know it doesn't sound like I'm real big on Liv, but I just
I agree, but I agree completely.
I just I feel like she's young and she's just I feel like we haven't quite tapped into what's going to ultimately make her great. It's like she has the potential for sure, but I just feel like we haven't quite gotten too deep under the surface yet with her. So,
but this title reign could do it. She gets the title.
Everyone's got to get their first one and start somewhere and try, and carrying the title is a responsibility, and you've got to be able to deliver. And perform, and there's a lot of stuff that legitimately goes with that. So we'll see how she handles it. But yeah, I think it'll be a huge pop for the night. The crowd will love it and go nuts. Nobody's going to be booing her or anything like that. So, and they'll be pulling for her the whole time. And if they really make it a good match too, like if they, if it's a really good wrestling match, then all the better, because that's really what's going to cement her, is if she just, I mean, I can tell you right now, she's going to probably get beat up 75% of that match, but the times that she's not, she's going to like give you some pretty cool stuff to, she's going to keep trying her best, this or that or whatever move, and build it up. And I think there's a lot of room for drama in that type of match. So
she will show her resiliency. She'll show that she's theoretically on Becky's level, at least for the night. She'll come away with the title and see where she goes from there.
Right. Yep.
Well, with that, so we got 7 matches. We agreed on 4. We disagreed on 3. So, you'll do 4 and 3. That's not bad for you.
Yeah.
It's a good night.
Yeah.
I'll go 7-0 and we'll move on.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Well, thank you, Tommy, for your acumen as always. I appreciate your insight, your wisdom, your knowledge, your predictions, and I appreciate you. It's been a fun year on Pinfalls. We encourage everybody to watch WWE on Saturday for Pinfall. They're not going to see Pinfalls; they're going to see Day 1 on Saturday.
But if we are there, though, we'll be excited.
That would be cool. Just one more step.
We'll wave.
Any parting words, Tommy?
Just happy new year to everybody out there. Thanks for watching. Thank you, John, for having me on again. It's a pleasure. I'm always happy to do this. It's a good time. So happy new year to everybody. Good luck in 2022.
You well said, my friend. I couldn't agree more. And with that, we bid everybody adieu. Have fun watching WWE Day 1.